Welcome to the Maria Liberati Show, where food meets art, travel, and life. So what does food mean to you? Join me for today's segment. My special guests are the editor of the Farmer's Almanac. That is like one of my favorite all-time books. And Carol Connare, who's the editor of the Farmer's Almanac, will be talking planting and gardening for the fall, and of course weather. So we will be discussing those things. And my other special guest is Jessie Sierra Ross. She is a cookbook author, and she will be giving us tips for meal planning for back to school time, trying to take the stress out of meal planning. And I just wanted to remind everyone that I will be doing an evening in Tuscany 4-course wine pairing dinner at Bacco Italian Restaurant, North Wales, Pennsylvania. It's on DeKalb Pike in North Wales, Pennsylvania. It's actually 587 DeKalb Pike, and that will be on Tuesday, October 8th from 6 to 8 p.m. It's a 4-course wine pairing dinner. We are serving 6 wines with the courses also, and the dinner is based on my award-winning book, The Basic Art of Italian Cooking, Da Vinci Style. I will be there sharing recipes and stories. Will be a really fun evening, delicious evening too, because it's 4 courses and 6 wines. The reservations are limited, and these dinners always sell out. So make your reservations. You can call the restaurant at 215-699-3360. That's 215-699-3360. And I will also be doing my Taste of Italy tour at the Bucks County Community College in Newtown, Pennsylvania. There will be 4 different sessions, and each session will concentrate on a region in Italy. And you can find out more about my Taste of Italy tour by calling the Bucks County Community College in Newtown, Pennsylvania, or just going to their website and looking up the continuing education courses. And I'll also be doing a food blogging course at the Upper Bucks campus. So please check that out. Hope to see you there, and hope everyone had a great Labor Day and a great summer. And now that September is here, I wanted to share an excerpt from my latest book, The Basic Art of Italian Cooking Diaries, Seasons. You know, this book was taken from the diaries that I kept while I was living in Italy, doing my Basic Art of Italian Cooking book series and my TV show, my PBS TV series. And this excerpt that I'm reading is dated September 3rd. So this was a September 3rd, and it's titled Waiting for Rome, Cornetto and Cappuccino. I'm counting down the hours at the airport until my first authentic cappuccino and cornetto. 13 hours and counting. After all, it's been about 8 weeks since my last cappuccino and cornetto. How did I go so long without them? Since food is my only drug of choice, and an authentic cappuccino and artisan cornetto are not difficult to get addicted to. My thoughts these last few days have been filled with anticipation of the ones to come. My first night in Rome will be a wine reception to celebrate the release of my second book, The Basic Art of Italian Cooking, Holidays and Special Occasions. As I go home to Abruzzo, leaving my other home in the States for a bit, it's always a bittersweet departure. But I'm fortunate to have friends and family in both locations. It's bittersweet leaving either place, always missing special people and places from one home, while loving where I'm at the same time. Since I'll be visiting a villa in Sorrento for a meeting, here's a refreshing, different version of a tiramisu. It uses limoncello instead of coffee, and it's a really lemony dish. If you have access to lemons from Sorrento, use them. If not, be sure the lemons you use are fresh and really fragrant. Nowadays, you can find limoncello in most stores that carry liquor. But if it's called something similar to limoncello, like limonello, for instance, It was not made with real lemons from Sorrento, so you want to make sure it says limoncello. So here's my recipe. This is really refreshing. It's a tiramisu di limoncello, and it's from my book, The Basic Art of Italian Cooking Diary Seasons. 1 16-ounce package of ladyfingers or Savoyardi, 8 ounces of mascarpone cheese, a half a cup of confectioner's sugar, the peel of 1 organic lemon grated finely, a 1/4 cup of limoncello, 8 ounces of chocolate-covered confetti candies crushed. Place the limoncello in a soup-type dish for dunking the ladyfingers. In a separate bowl, blend together mascarpone, sugar, and lemon peel. Set that aside. Dust a long flat plate with confectioner's sugar. Quickly dip the ladyfingers one by one in the limoncello mixture just to moisten them. Dip them and quickly pull them out. Place the ladyfingers after you've dipped them side by side on the flat plate. When you have created a full layer, smooth a layer of mascarpone cheese over them. Create another layer of ladyfingers dipped in the limoncello and top with the remaining mascarpone cheese. Sprinkle the crushed confetti candies on top. Place this in the refrigerator for 2 hours. Serve it cold. Your guests will really be impressed with this tiramisu. Enjoy and stay tuned for my interviews. Embark on a culinary journey with Maria Liberati's The Basic Art of Italian Cooking book series. Discover the secrets of Italian cuisine and bring the art of Italian cooking to your home. Awarded the Best Italian Cuisine Book in the USA by the Gourmand World Book Awards, the book series is available now at marialiberati.com, at artoflivingprimamedia.com, on Amazon and Kindle, and anywhere books are sold. And my special guest today is Carol Connare from the Old Farmer's Almanac. And of course, the 2025 version or edition is out now, Carol?
Yes, it is. It's out on, today is our on sale date.
Oh, there you go. Okay, great. So I know it's my go-to book for like the weather and my planting and gardening and all of that. And I know it's the same for many people. But I think what we were going to try to talk today about is end of summer and maybe fall planting and gardening and maybe how the weather is affecting that. I noticed in the 2025 edition, it did say that they're predicting a milder winter. Is that correct?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Well, that's it's good to hear anyway. But what do and of course we're talking about the whole country, so weather varies in different parts. But as far as end of summer, like gardening and planting for fall, any tips or ideas for that?
Absolutely. Well, I think the bigger picture is that, there's a warming trend. We're having longer growing seasons, really, no matter where you are. This was again, I think it was July was the hottest July on record since we've been keeping records. Of course, we know there's been other weather patterns, but so that's kind of a boon for some growers. The bigger picture being that we might have more time to plant things, and certainly, those of us even in northern areas are able to do fall crops of greens and radishes and some really, quick growing beans. You can put a cover on some of these things and grow well into December. Certainly, kale is a crop that we see even up here, into December because it takes a real killing frost. So it depends. I think we're seeing a lot of extreme weather events, and really the ones that cause the most consternation for people are the flooding, because the rainfall will come so hard and so fast. It's not normal. It's getting to be the new normal. But growers, especially just our home gardeners, we depend on the weather to keep our things going. On a drought year, it's so tough to keep everything watered. A lot of people have turned to containers, and again, that's a watering situation in any kind of a dry weather. So So I think just overall, we always go on with our weather team to gear up for our on sale and talking to people. And, we're really looking at all these trends. Both Canada and the US updated their normal temperatures. They do a 30-year average. And of course,
Right.
the hardiness zones all changed this year. So that's just kind of the bigger landscape for growers. And
Right.
in the Almanac, every year we have, like we have for 233 years, planting tables, like frost dates and when to plant your peas and when to make sure that everything's harvested. But the nice thing is almanac.com, our website, has
Right.
thousands of pages, but you can go and just put your zip code in and find out planting dates, especially for fall, if you're going to get that second crop of greens in or putting some root vegetables in. So those things are really site specific, and we're finding that those microclimates are really people have to know kind of their area, because you could have a difference in elevation of a few feet, and that's going to mean frost in one person's yard and not in another.
Another, yes. Yeah, I know. Well, even I'm in the Northeast and I have, say, like relatives and friends that might live just like 40 minutes away. And we have a variety of weathers. We don't always have the same exact thing.
Exactly.
So I guess, yes, that definitely is something that you have to look at. But that's really helpful that you could put in your zip code then and get an idea of what you can plant. I was actually surprised this year because I just because of a lot of other things, I wasn't able to plan everything I wanted. So I planted some things like later in the season, and I'm like, nah, they're not. Well, there I have lots of things that are grew really, really quickly and they're still growing. And I guess if it's going to be mild, I'll be able to keep that stuff growing for a little longer this year.
You've really hit on one of the tips that I keep telling people is, because the season's longer, it
Mhm.
means you can plant later. Like I noticed that my tomatoes had no blight this year, but I didn't get them in until, goodness gracious, probably the second week of June, and they're beautiful, like, and they're
Uh-huh.
happy. And the same thing, I planted some later greens, and I think that's a good message for people, is that, we get so excited, especially for those of us who have a real winter. We want to get that
Yes.
stuff in the ground. But if
Yes.
and you can, I start a lot of things indoors like other people probably. But I think that idea that you didn't miss it. If you didn't get your stuff in the ground by Memorial Day weekend, you still have several weeks that you can be putting stuff in the
Do.
ground and be happy with, right?
Yes, you do now where it wasn't once it was not the case and it's like, oh darn, I missed it. But now you could still, yeah, plant things.
So I think
So,
that's a big tip. Like, so even for next year, which we're predicting a warmer summer overall, and then, what we're seeing is what our weather guys call like a summer hangover, which tends to be in that mid-Atlantic area, and then a winter hangover, which affects spring up in the prairies of
uh-huh,
both Canada and the US. So they get a later winter, but again, they're getting a longer fall. So it measures out. But I think that's a great message for people, is that fall is alive and well for gardening, whether you're throwing in a crop now or you did a later summer, you're going to be getting great harvests into the fall.
to the
So that's a good one. But I think container gardening is the one we see that's really grown the most for people.
uh-huh,
Um, and it really makes it accessible because they don't need to have a big piece of land, and you can have that control. So say you've got a nice bush cherry tomato or cucumbers you started in even now, or, in
uh-huh.
July on your deck, you can bring that inside,
Mm-hmm.
and so we're seeing a lot of people enjoy their plants longer and make them mobile.
Uh-huh. Exactly. Yeah, and it provides a solution, like you said, for people that don't have land that they can grow stuff in. They can just do it. You can, because you can just put it in a container and bring it in, as you said.
Yes, so many varieties. We name quite a few in this issue about, kind of dwarf varieties are great for pots, and you can get tomatoes, cucumbers, you can get all your salad favorites that you
Huh?
could grow, in a pot in a smaller size. Even things like citrus, And they're really, people are loving having those year round. And so, when you say fall gardening, I think people are just saying, throwing out the seasons out the window. A
Yeah.
simple set of grow lights, and we do it in our hallway here at the Almanac because we get dark around 5 in November.
Yes.
So
Yes.
having that is nice. And I had beans all winter. It was hilarious. So,
Oh my goodness.
just one little set of grow lights, it really makes it a difference, I think, in mood, and just having that beautiful growing thing beside you creating food.
That's great. That's great. All great tips. So I guess the tip would be you can start planning even if you think you missed the season and go on to. So Carol, we're almost out of time, but tell people what's the website, or can they'll just put in the Old Farmer's Almanac online and it will take them there, or is there?
Absolutely. Almanac.com is
Okay.
where we are. You can find planting pages, weather, sky watching, everything, that's really up to the minute, and by zip code, which is super nice on the website. Our book covers North America and has a lot of extra features that aren't on the web. But for real hardcore growers, you can find a lot of that information on almanac.com.
Okay, that's great. Thank you so much for being here, and hopefully
You're welcome.
we'll have you back another time. I love, the Almanac. It's like my favorite go-to book. So
Thanks, Maria.
thank you.
Okay.
Transform your kitchen into an Italian masterpiece with the basic art of Italian cooking. Savor the flavors, stories, and traditions with every recipe. Celebrate life's special moments Italian style. Get your copy of the Basic Art of Italian Cooking book series, the winner of the Gourmand World Book Awards, and you can get your copy at artoflivingprimamedia.com, at marialiberati.com, on Amazon and Kindle. And there are 3 in the series. There's the Basic Art of Italian Cooking, the Basic Art of Italian Cooking Holidays and Special Occasions, and the Basic Art of Italian Cooking Da Vinci Style. And my special guest today is Jessie Sierra Ross. She's the author of Seasons Around the Table, and I've invited her. She's been on before, but she's going to share some tips with us for meal planning for back to school, which is sometimes a stressful time for parents as well as kids. Jessie, thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me.
So yeah, as I mentioned, I know it's sometimes really stressful for parents having to plan out their meals, but making sure that the kids eat healthy. Any tips on meal planning?
Absolutely. And I can tell you from experience as a working mother of 3 young boys, it can get pretty hairy out there. And it's very tempting to go onto, any online site and have meals delivered, but we can do this together. So one of my prime tips is actually to sit down the weekend before and write down what you plan on making. Make it simple. Think about 30-minute meals, and also meals and recipes where the leftovers can be transformed into a new dinner. So for me, I start with the recipes. I could do something like a roasted chicken one night, and the leftovers will then be turned into a leftover chicken and green Thai curry filled with vegetables and served over rice. Then that same, brothy chicken can be turned to a great chicken soup. It's all about thinking about convenience and ease, because going into the work week, we don't want to be stressing about dinner. We also want to make sure we go into that grocery store armed. And by armed, I mean a grocery list. We want to concentrate on shopping around the perimeter of the grocery store, because that's where all the healthy stuff is, the vegetables, the fruits, the meats, the proteins, and the dairy, and just a little bit on the inside aisles, because no one can go without a treat. But you want to focus on healthy, bright colored ingredients such as bell peppers and broccoli and greens, organic, well-cut meats to make those dinners.
That's great. Yeah, I think it's important that it's great that you were talking about, using actual leftovers from a meal and turning into something else. That's really an important tip, because there's so many ways people can do that, and they just waste food and they don't realize they can do all kinds of creative things with leftovers. So any other tips, like recipes or anything like that? Like,
Absolutely. Absolutely. So recently, my boys have been loving this creamy pasta sauce over any pasta that you have in your pantry. But we
Uh-huh.
snazz it up with additions, and it could be leftover chicken thighs that have been grilled the night before, could be sauteed button mushrooms with sun-dried tomatoes and shallots. But really, this cream sauce that comes together in about 10 minutes is the perfect vehicle for any sort of protein and veggies. And the kids love it kind of plain without any extra spices on it. But for the adults, it's also there and you can easily adapt it to many different palettes. So for me, it's finding those quick and easy, but also versatile recipes that make my week a lot less stressful.
That's great. So, is this the recipe we're going to share on my blog, the creamy pasta sauce? Or okay, great.
Yes, so we're going to do a creamy mushroom pasta with sun-dried tomatoes, but feel free to mix and match. That's the uniqueness of cooking. It's the creativity.
Yes, I was just going to say, not all kids like mushrooms. A lot of kids do, but if they don't, I'm sure you can mix and match,
Mhm.
whatever veggies the kids like. That sounds great. Any last minute tips for us before we go?
Remember that meal times are chances to bond with your kids. It's so crazy out there. We have after school activities, we have work meetings after hours, we have a big social life. But that moment that you sit down at the table with your children for dinner, whether it's a full-fledged hour meal or a half an hour quick chicken Thai curry, that's the chance to really connect with your children and have a great dinner at the same time.
Exactly. That's great. Jesse, tell people where they can find you.
Absolutely. You can find me online at straight2thehipsbaby.com or join my new newsletter with exclusive recipes, Jessie Sierra, The Last Bite on Substack.
Great. Thanks again, Jesse, and hopefully we'll see you in the near future with some more great tips. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening to the Maria Liberati Show, and thanks to this week's special guests, and as always, my producer, Britton Roselle. And I just want to remind everyone that we're continuing our back to school guides for 2024. We are selecting the best of the back to school products. We've been sifting through so many products and just picking out what we thought were the best for our listeners. So actually it's not each week, it's every few days we release the best of back to school products for 2024. And you can find them on the blog for the marialiberattishow.com. So it's just at the marialiberattishow.com. And let's see, I think this week we had some special things from Dollar General, CVS. Heat Holders has some great products. True Lemon had some great products for kids, especially CVS had some great snacks. And Lumatory is a really interesting game, family game. You'll want to find out about that. So you'll find those and some other products on the website, on the blog rather, for the Maria Liberati Show at the marialiberattishow.com. And don't forget my Evening in Tuscany 4-course wine pairing dinner based on my book, The Basic Art of Italian Cooking, Da Vinci Style, at Bacco Italian Restaurant on Tuesday, October 8th from 6 to 8 p.m. 4 courses paired with 6 different wines. Reservations are limited. You can call the restaurant at 215-699-3360 and make your reservations. And if you have any questions on the event, you can always email us at info, that's info, at marialiberati.com. And my Taste of Italy tour, we will be touring to 4 different regions in Italy at the Bucks County Community College in Newtown. Each week will be a cooking class and demo and sampling of recipes from those regions. And those classes will be for the Bucks County Community College Continuing Education Department. It's open to everyone. You don't have to be going to college there. The classes are on Saturdays and will be really, really fun classes. So call Bucks County Community College, the Continuing Education Department, and register. Registration is limited for those programs also. And I'll also be doing a food blogging course at the Upper Bucks campus for Bucks County Community College in October and November as well. So call Bucks County Community College in Newtown, Pennsylvania, the continuing education department. And again, if you have any questions about those courses, you can also email us again at info@marialiberati.com. And you can find me at marialiberati.com, on Instagram at marialiberati. And if you follow me on Instagram, we give away cookbooks every so often for those that follow. So follow me there. You can follow me on Facebook at Chef Maria Liberati, on Twitter or X at Maria Liberati, and on Vimeo at Maria Liberati. You'll find a lot of video cooking shows that I've done in Italy and all around the world, and in the USA also. And let's see, you can also find a lot of videos and podcasts on the Maria Liberati Show channel on YouTube. And don't forget about my radio show on WWDB-AM. That's in the Philadelphia listening area on Saturdays from 1:30 till 2. If you're not in the listening area, you can download one of the episodes at www.dbam.com. You can download all the episodes there if you're not in the listening area. We do have different guests, so it's not always the same as the podcast. So please listen to my radio show at www.dbam.com. And you can find my Gourmand World award-winning book series, The Basic Art of Italian Cooking, and the book especially that I just read from today, that is my latest book. You can find that book, which is The Basic Art of Italian Cooking Diary Seasons, on Amazon, on Kindle, on marialiberati.com, and anywhere books are sold. And lastly, you can find info on a lot of the podcasts that we're doing at the marialiberattishow.com blog. So just go there and you'll find that, as well as our back to school guides. And until next week, peace, love, and pasta.